Well, that's what you've all wanted. That's what everybody's been asking for I don't know how long. That was a press conference. That was a press conference. That was the kind of press conference Republican voters have been dying to see for who knows how many years. Greetings, my friends. Great to have you here. And great to be back. A short, busy broadcast week. Rush Limbaugh back at it. 800-282-2882. If you want to be on the program, the email address lrushbaugh@eivnet.com. Say what you will about Donald Trump. How many years have people been begging for a Republican to just once take on the media the way Trump did? All the way from the premise to the details, to the motivation. He took them all on, and the pièce de résistance is some journalists said, Mr. Trump. And by the way, these people in the media, they may hate the guy, but they cannot stop covering. I have, there are a couple of things in the Trump stack today that are going to inspired me to do another in-depth explanation of why all this is happening, why Trump is happening, why Trump is working, Trump's relationship with the media, what is sustaining it, how it is that Trump is succeeding in getting a bunch of people that literally hate him to help him out. It's fascinating, folks. It's a fascinating case study in politics and sociology, psychology, pop culturism, post whatever. Modernism, whatever. It's an amazing thing, and I'm going to do my best to explain it because it's fascinating to me. But again, folks, I can't do all of this in the first segment, so just hang in there. All 3 hours entirely worth it each and every day here at the Excellence in Broadcasting Network. Now, back to this Trump press conference. If you didn't see it, if you didn't hear it, we're working on audio sound bites now, and we're an editor short today. So we'll get them up as quickly as we can. We only got one guy editing, and when we have two guys editing, it would only take half the time it's going to take now. But anyway, the pièce de résistance. You thought I lost my place, but I didn't, because I never do. Near the end of it, a frustrated journalist, Mr. Trump, is it going to be this way? Is it going to be this way? Are you going to be attacking us after you become president? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because you are the most dishonest people, the political press, the most dishonest people I know. You know it and I know it. The press is dishonest, but political press is especially dishonest. And then Jim Acosta, I think it was CNN, Mr. Trump, do you object to scrutiny? I mean, you seem like you don't even like scrutiny. But you're seeking the office of President of the United States. How do you think? I don't mind scrutiny. What I don't like is lies. You can scrutinize me all day long, but you set up false premises, you state things about me that are not true, then you run stories on that. That's why I'm out here trying to have to correct the record. And then Trump said, by the way, I've seen you. You're among the worst. You're an ABC, right? You're a worst. You're a sleaze. And I'm thinking of people at home watching this. Because, folks, in the age of internet trolling, manners are out the window. It's a waste of time asking for manners here. Because remember, in a war, the aggressor sets the rules, and I'm guaranteeing you that Trump thinks the media are the aggressors here. He was asked even about that. Are you going to defend yourself? Are you going to be critical even of Republicans you're trying to unify? If they attack me, hell yes. Somebody comes after me, maybe not as much if they're a Republican, but I'm still going to go after them. Of course I am. But the media, the media totally wants Hillary Clinton to win. Don't misunderstand, but they're so conflicted. Because the cable networks, since this thing ended, have been devoted to the press conference and how Trump was mean to them, and how Trump insulted them, and how Trump criticized them. And they're now doing all these introspective panel discussions on what does it all mean, and what kind of deranged guy is Trump. Even the New York Times, folks, the New York Times has a story today. This is, in fact, the foundation of the great dissertation I have coming up to explain much of what's going on, to analyze it. Well, not so much explain. I don't know how many questions there are, but I'm going to try to unravel why some of this is happening, what it really means. for those of you who are just watching it casually. But the New York Times headline, television networks struggle to provide equal airtime in the era of Trump. Oh, yes. 5 pages this baby prints out. And the New York Times has another story. Hillary Clinton struggles to find footing in unusual race. This is also related. So they've got 2 stories here on how the Times is actually apologizing to its readers for being unable to balance coverage in favor of Hillary. If Trump were any other Republican, they would have practically destroyed him by now, and they'd be worried about rehabbing Hillary's image and building her up. But she's so unexciting, she's so dull, she's so scandal-ridden, they got nothing to work with. All they can do is try to destroy Trump. But they don't know how, because they didn't make Trump. They can't destroy Trump. And everybody dealing with Trump, including Bill Kristol and everybody else trying to take him out, is making the big mistake of trying to plug Trump into the age-old political handbook. Trump's not part of that. You don't deal with Trump in the standard political handbook way on policy and issues and things like that. That's not the way to separate Trump supporters from Trump. It just isn't going to work. Television networks struggle to provide equal airtime in the era of Trump. Let me tell you what the upshot of this story is. I'm not going to read the whole 5 pages to you because I don't need to. I make the complex understandable. I can tell you one paragraph what the New York Times takes 5 pages to tell you. Ready? The upshot is this: Trump's constant access to media and Trump's unpredictability is frustrating Hillary and the drive-by's capacity to shape and control the narrative. They are unable to write the daily soap opera script, as they have become accustomed to being able to do. They're unable to do it because Trump is so unpredictable. They'll write a script, they'll write a narrative for the day, and then Trump will go out and do an appearance and blow it to smithereens, at the same time blowing their plans. Then Hillary is frustrating because there's nothing to cover. All there is with Hillary is emails and shady financial dealings and Mao pantsuits and basic incompetence and boredom and a total lack of excitement. So there's no way that they can write a narrative every day that destroys Trump and builds up Hillary, because, see, where the first mistake is in the New York Times worrying about granting Trump access. They're not granting Trump access. Trump is commanding access. Trump is taking access. Trump is dictating the daily narrative, as this press conference today on his donations to the vets and at various groups illustrate. What got all this started, don't forget, this all started when the Washington Post published an article last week, right before the Memorial Day weekend, which is a typical drive-by media trick. Whenever they want to destroy anybody or take a hit on somebody, they do it at a time when, even if there is a response, nobody sees it, or very few. So the Washington Post published an article last week, right before the Memorial Day weekend started, in which they claimed, essentially, that Trump was lying about having raised $6 million in that fundraiser he held in lieu of going to the GOP debate before the Hawkeye Caucus. And it turns out, lo and behold, that the Washington Post was right after all. Trump didn't raise $6 million for veterans groups. He only raised $5.6 million. Only raised $5, and by the way, by the time he gets through, it will be over $6 million. Now, the money is still coming in. Our buddy Jim Kallstrom, Marine Corps Law Enforcement Foundation, indicated to a very disappointed CNN that Trump donated $1 million, $1.1 million to them last week or last couple of weeks somehow. But anyway, they started out with this. They make some factual misrepresentations that Trump is lying about all the money he's raised for the vets. They claim that Trump claims he's raised $6 million or whatever it is, and they go out and they're doing what they can to illustrate, try to convince people Trump's lying about it, that he hasn't raised that much. And even worse, that if he has raised that much, he hasn't passed it on. He's holding on to it. He hasn't donated it all. All of these insinuations and allegations were the Washington Post piece. And Trump felt the need to correct the record today, and did so in his own inimitable way, which basically attacked the media for dishonesty and corruption. And the thing is, he stood there for, 45 minutes? I mean, he didn't hide, didn't run away from it, answered every question. He just took them on. They have no complaint. They can never say Trump avoids them. They can never say Trump does this or that to try to evade any kind of scrutiny, even though he got that question about scrutiny. But the New York Times, this is actually kind of funny, I think, because they're worried that Trump's constant access to the media and his unpredictability is frustrating Hillary. Hillary doesn't know how to deal with this. Hillary doesn't know how to counter-program Trump, if you will. Hillary doesn't know how to go out and write her own narrative of the day. Hillary doesn't know whether to focus on herself or to criticize Trump or to go after crazy Bernie. She doesn't know what to do. And the press doesn't either. New York Times is admitting here that their capacity, their ability to shape and control the narrative, the soap opera script every day, is almost impossible because of Trump. And so the Times, in this story, is struggling to figure out some kind of fairness doctrine solution to the problem. I kid you not. They're trying to find a way they can balance this because Trump is generating so much more coverage. They're not starting it. The press isn't. Trump's just out doing what he's doing, and they are compelled to cover it. They cannot not cover it. But there is no, Hillary Clinton calls a press conference. It's no big deal. There isn't a mad dash by countless members of the media to get there and see what she's going to say. There is no comparative excitement, unpredictability, drama, entertainment, you name it. There isn't any comparison. Now, not to say Trump doesn't have any competition, because he does. That's a crucial factor in all of this, too. Now, the Times here, in their hand-wringing, they're worried, they're complaining. It's not fair, we can't control the media because of Trump. The problem is, and they don't want to say this, but the problem is that Trump, no matter what anybody thinks of him, is interesting. That Trump, no matter what anybody thinks of him, is funny. That Trump, no matter what anybody thinks of him, is different. That Trump, no matter what anybody thinks of him, is drama. That Trump, no matter what anybody thinks of him, is unpredictable. All of that means you can't miss it. You can't roll the dice and not cover it, hoping it isn't anything. You have to be there as the media. And you have to hope that he's going to attack you as the media. But Hillary, on the other hand, dull. Totally colorless, mistake-prone, scandal-ridden, which means because Hillary doesn't have any natural talents, Hillary doesn't have any natural connection to people, Hillary doesn't have any charisma, magnetism, all of that has to be manufactured by the media. Hillary needs to be hyper-scripted, while at the same time have limited availability in a campaign that's about spontaneity and entertainment. This has become a pop culture campaign. Like it or not, that's what it is. And that's why so many in the political world are having trouble understanding it, dealing with it, being involved with it, defining it, what have you. But Hillary Clinton has this problem. The more she's seen, the more she's heard, the worse she does. This is not arguable. This has been proven over and over again in polling data alone. The less she speaks, the less she's seen, the higher her numbers go. But with Trump out there all the time, spontaneous and entertaining, the press has to do something to keep her in the game. So they hyperscript her appearances, they hyperscript coverage, all with limited availability because Hillary has to maintain some restraint. Otherwise, it's a potential total implosion. Let me take a brief time out because of the constraints of time. Back in a sec, folks. The New York Times also from over the weekend, rise of Donald Trump tracks growing debate over global fascism. And there's even a photo of Hitler and a photo of Mussolini in the New York Times article. They never call Trump a fascist. They just claim that Trump's campaign and that Trump's rise to popularity is a sign of a growing global fascism. You think that story would ever be written about Barack Obama and any other governing world leaders today? Here you have a guy who's nothing more than a candidate right now. And the New York Times, over the weekend, the Memorial Day weekend, with a story, rise of Donald Trump tracks growing debate over global fascism. Never mind that both Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton's positions are far more in line with the German National Socialism approach than Trump could even dream of. Forget, the Nazis were National Socialists. Fascism, I mean, that's we're closer to having that currently in the White House than anywhere on the campaign trail right now on the Republican side. And now we find out that Hillary Clinton's campaign set up this Veterans Against Trump protest to begin with. Find out this after the fact. Media could have found out before it happened, but no.